Naylssa Smith's visit to China for an international basketball series was meant to showcase her prowess on a global stage, a chance to exhibit her skills in a different atmosphere and connect with fans outside her usual circuits. However, what transpired during one of these games became the headline, not just for the game itself, but for what followed. This was no ordinary match. This was a clash that sparked conversations and raised eyebrows across both basketball communities and social media platforms. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Smith was known for her fierce dedication to the game. On any given day, her presence on the court could be described as focused, almost tunnel-visioned, where every dribble, pass, and shot was calculated to contribute to her team's success. But that fateful day in China, this same drive took a turn, one that would echo louder than any victory cheer. It was during the third quarter when tensions began to bubble beneath the surface. The game had been close, with both teams pushing hard. This intensity was visible in every play, sweat gleaming on foreheads, the screech of sneakers on polished wood, and the sharp bark of coaches' instructions blending into a cacophony of competitive fervor. Smith's passion became palpable when she found herself boxed in by an opposing player, a guard who was known for her relentless defense. This player, nimble and strategic, had kept Smith on her toes throughout the match. It was the kind of back and forth that basketball fans love to watch, a blend of skill, grit, and mental games. But as the seconds ticked, the line between competitive play and frustration began to blur. The guard made another aggressive move, attempting to wrestle the ball away. What followed was a moment that felt suspended in time. Smith swung an elbow, a quick defensive reaction, but the force and angle turned it into more than just an instinctive move. It caught the other player square on the face. The crowd's collective gasp felt almost tangible, like an invisible wave rolling through the stands. The whistle blew sharply, cutting through the stunned silence. The player dropped, cradling her face, while teammates rushed to her side. Smith's face, once steely with determination, shifted to one of realization. She stood frozen, processing what had just unfolded under the gaze of the thousands in attendance and the millions more who would soon see the clip replayed across the internet. The referee wasted no time. A foul was called, and Smith was ejected from the game. The camera zoomed in, catching every micro-expression as she walked off the court, each step heavy, echoing the tension in the arena. But that was only the beginning. The repercussions of her action unraveled as quickly as wildfire spreads, leaving no stone unturned. As the story spread, it wasn't just sports commentators who weighed in. The event became fodder for everyone from armchair analysts to influencers whose primary expertise seemed to be generating viral commentary. Memes sprang up overnight. Some were playful, others biting. The taglines ranged from Smith's pivot to boxing to exaggerated mock play-by-plays with dramatic sound effects. The humor, though at times biting, was a testament to how fast things could escalate in an age where news spread at the speed of a tweet. Smith's teammates stood behind her, issuing statements of support and emphasizing the intensity of the game, the tightrope walk between aggression and sportsmanship that players often had to maintain. This wasn't just about defending their star player, but addressing the broader understanding of what happens when a line is crossed on the court. It was a conversation as old as the sport itself. When did passion turn into something else? And how does one maintain control when stakes are high and emotions run higher? The Chinese team, on the other hand, wasn't silent. They expressed disappointment, noting that incidents like these soured what should have been a spirited competition. The player who took the hit, a rising star in her own right, managed to put forth a statement once the swelling subsided. Though careful with her words, she didn't downplay the pain or the shock. Smith's action had transformed her into more than just a participant in the game. She had become a symbol of what happens when tempers flare unchecked. The media storm surrounding the incident added layers to the story. Commentators dissected the footage, pointing out how the game's pace had been leading up to that moment, how Smith's typically sharp focus seemed to waver for just an instant. Some defended her, claiming that moments like these are what make athletes human. Others were less forgiving, calling it unsportsmanlike and demanding consequences beyond her ejection. Smith's reputation, until that point relatively unblemished, began to take on new shades. The conversation extended beyond basketball. It tapped into the nature of high-stakes sports and the intense pressures faced by athletes. Her fans were split, some doubling down their loyalty, arguing that everyone has a breaking point, while others expressed disappointment, feeling let down by an athlete they admired for her fierce but fair approach to the game. Even those who didn't follow basketball found themselves drawn to the spectacle. The video clips were too engaging to scroll past, the facial expressions too raw, and the reactions too relatable. It was a scene that could have played out in any competitive environment, which is perhaps why it resonated. The debate wasn't confined to courtside arguments, but entered living rooms, classrooms, and comment sections worldwide. What was acceptable in the heat of the moment? And how far was too far? Smith herself maintained a noticeable silence in the immediate aftermath, a silence that spoke volumes. In the absence of her voice, her career and character became a canvas on which people painted their interpretations. The absence of a public statement allowed the narrative to spin wildly, leading to speculation about whether she felt remorse or believed her move to be justified in the split second it occurred. Meanwhile, her coaches were tasked with more than just managing a game. They had to address a situation that had slipped into the realm of public relations and personal accountability. The team released measured comments that balanced support for Smith with acknowledgement of the gravity of the incident. Internally, it was reported that conversations between Smith and her coaching staff were tense. After all, this was a defining moment that could shape not only her career, but the team's image abroad. Basketball, like many competitive sports, isn't devoid of these moments. Legends of the game have faced their own missteps, and fans have a history of weighing in, offering both support and critique. But Smith's case became unique due to where it happened and how quickly it escalated. The international setting amplified everything, adding cultural considerations into the mix. This wasn't just about a bad play. It touched on national pride, cross-cultural sportsmanship, and the fine print of what it means to play respectfully on foreign soil. While Smith remained out of the limelight, her social media accounts became a battleground. Comments were polarized, ranging from unwavering support to harsh criticism. The basketball star, who once posted practice shots, victories, and occasional glimpses of her off-court life, now faced a flood of responses that highlighted just how public her career, and by extension her actions, were. Fans tagged her in posts that varied from motivational words to reminders of how influential her platform could be, both positively and negatively. This incident didn't just affect Smith and the player she struck. It created ripple effects. Other athletes were suddenly called to reflect on their own moments of frustration, some even sharing stories of times they nearly lost their composure. A few even admitted that Smith's situation served as a cautionary tale. Coaches spoke about reinforcing the importance of discipline and control during critical plays, citing the need to find balance even when provoked. The game itself, long forgotten as just another chapter in the season, now became a touchstone for broader discussions about sportsmanship. Documentaries and panels devoted to basketball's toughest moments were given new content to dissect. It wasn't just a question of what Smith had done, but why, and how that single elbow embodied the strain that top-level athletes face. The pressure to perform, to be relentless and unyielding, sometimes resulted in moments like these, moments that captured the clash between maintaining dominance and maintaining grace. This single incident in China, a moment of defensive reflex turned aggressive, took Smith's career into a place of reflection. It put a spotlight on the fragile line athlete's toe between intense competition and controlled composure. As this story continued to unfold, and while Smith worked through the consequences, both personal and professional, the world watched. What became clear was that sports, for all their unpredictability, had a way of magnifying the moments that mattered most, both for what they revealed about the game and what they revealed about those who played it.